Imagine being released from prison, you're past a heavy shadow, and everyone expecting you to fail. But what if that same individual, against all odds, decided to build not just a new life, but actual structures, brick by brick, that would redefine their existence? How does an ex-convict become a celebrated architect? The answer might surprise you. From a prison cell to a prestigious architectural firm, it sounds impossible, right? How can someone with a criminal record rebuild a life that includes designing multi-million-dollar structures? The story you're about to hear isn't just about second chances. It's about defying every expectation, facing racism head-on, and proving that the foundations of a new life can be laid in the most unexpected places. This is the story of Marcus Johnson. And this is Melanin Chronicles, where the untold becomes unforgettable. Marcus Johnson was just 21 years old when his life collapsed. Born and raised in Chicago's South Side, Marcus grew up surrounded by both potential and pitfalls. His mother worked double shifts as a nurse's aide, his father long gone. Marcus wasn't a bad kid. He loved sketching, always drawing little houses and storefronts in the margins of his notebooks. But in a neighborhood where opportunities were scarce, survival often came with dangerous choices. One night, a botched robbery changed everything. Marcus wasn't the trigger man, but he was there. And in the eyes of the law, that was enough. Convicted of armed robbery, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Prison was concrete within concrete. Days blurred into nights. Hope evaporated. For Marcus, the future felt sealed, until something unexpected happened. Inside that prison library, Marcus stumbled on a book about architecture. At first, it was just an escape, glossy pictures of towers piercing the sky, blueprints of homes, stories of visionaries who built entire cities. But slowly, that book became a beacon. Marcus began sketching again. Not just doodles, but designs. He'd draw cells transformed into classrooms, courtyards turned into gardens. For the first time since his sentencing, he wasn't dreaming about escape, he was imagining construction. It wasn't easy. Some inmates laughed at him, "You ain't building nothing in here." Guards dismissed his drawings as a waste of time. But Marcus refused to let go. He enrolled in a prison education program. Late nights under dim light, his pencil moving across scraps of paper. Architecture became not just a dream, but a survival mechanism, a blueprint of redemption. In 2012, at age 28, Marcus walked out of prison with nothing but his sketches and determination. Freedom felt heavy. Every job application was stamped with rejection. It wasn't just the word felon that closed doors. It was also the color of his skin. Time after time, white-owned firms looked at him and saw not an aspiring architect, but a black ex-convict to be avoided. "We'll call you back." They never did. "Sorry, you're not the right fit." He knew what they meant. The weight of racism and incarceration combined into an almost immovable wall. Marcus considered giving up. And then, a door cracked open. At Chicago State University, Marcus approached Professor Daniel Whitaker, a veteran in architectural history. He showed him his prison sketches, trembling with both hope and fear. Whitaker was stunned. Not just by the designs, but by the discipline it took to create them in such conditions. Against pushback from colleagues who said Marcus didn't belong, Whitaker sponsored his application. That chance changed everything. Marcus enrolled in architecture classes. But the uphill battle was relentless. He worked part-time construction, slept on a cousin's couch, and often went hungry just to afford materials. Nights stretched long as he memorized formulas, sketched until his hands cramped, and studied the intricacies of design. Still, the racism never left. Some professors dismissed him, questioning if someone like him could ever succeed in architecture. Internship interviews ended the moment firms learned about his past. But Marcus carried the fire of prison survival with him. Every rejection fueled another late night of work. Every insult added another line to his blueprint. Slowly, painfully, he was rebuilding not just his education, but his very identity. Marcus's first real break came not from corporate firms, but from the community that raised him. A local nonprofit needed someone to design a modest community library. Big firms didn't care, too small, too unprofitable. But for Marcus, it was everything. He poured himself into the project. The building wasn't just walls and windows. It was light, air, space for children to dream and elders to gather. When the library opened, neighbors wept. Marcus had given them more than a building, he had given them proof that they mattered. But the higher Marcus climbed, the more racism tried to pull him down. White-owned firms laughed him out of meetings. Potential clients refused to shake his hand once they learned his background. One executive sneered, "You expect people to live in buildings designed by a felon?" But Marcus refused to bow. His philosophy of design became his quiet rebellion. Every building was about resilience, community, and transparency. structures that reflected the struggles he had endured, and the strength it took to overcome them. Marcus's defining moment came with the Southside Community Center, a $20 million project. His design was bold: glass walls, open spaces, a place that invited community instead of shutting it out. The board was impressed. But corporate backers resisted. "We can't let a black ex-con be the face of this project," they said. Once again, Marcus was told to step aside. But this time, he refused. With Professor Whitaker and community leaders behind him, Marcus fought back. He rallied the neighborhood. He spoke at churches, schools, radio stations. "This isn't about me," he declared. "This is about what redemption looks like. It's about proving that we are more than our pasts." The community roared in support. Petitions poured in. Backers were forced to relent. Marcus won the contract. When the Southside Community Center opened, it was more than a building. It was a statement. On opening day, Marcus stood before the crowd and spoke words that would define his legacy. "They tried to build walls to keep me out. Instead, I built bridges to bring us all in." Marcus Johnson's journey is proof that second chances don't just rebuild one life. They rebuild communities. From prison walls to glass towers, from rejection to respect, his life is a reminder that redemption is possible, if only society is willing to believe in it. His legacy is more than concrete and steel. It's every young black man who hears his story and realizes, the past does not define the future. And now, the blueprint is ours. Will we keep building walls of prejudice, or will we finally start building bridges of hope? This is Melanin Chronicles, where the untold becomes unforgettable. If Marcus's story moved you, share it. Support organizations that fight for rehabilitation and justice. And never forget, one brick, one blueprint, one second chance at a time, we can build something greater.